Is the idea of a public bank a fantasy, a utopian dream, something in the distant future, or is it something that exists in the world today, exists perhaps in the United States today, something we can point to and say, we already have an example, a history, an empirical record of what's been going on?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is a rhetorical question. You know and I know that the answer is yes, we have examples. So let's start with the one here in the United States that gets all the attention once you learn about this, which is the Bank of North Dakota. Tell us a little bit about it.
Right. So the Bank of North Dakota is the only currently operating public bank in the United States. It's very successful. It was founded in 1919. At the time, banks were foreclosing en masse on farms in North Dakota, mainly banks located in Minneapolis. And the farmers of North Dakota got together and they started what they called the Nonpartisan League, which was a sort of, not right or left movement, but really a localist, stay out of our state kind of movement, saying we want to keep our money here and we want to make sure our farmers and our banks are thriving and not out-of-state banks. They captured both houses of the legislature in the following election and immediately created a state-owned grain mill and elevator and the public bank, the Bank of North Dakota. They amended the Constitution of North Dakota to require that all state revenues and accounts be held at the bank, guaranteeing it a deposit base. And they put in charge of the bank the Industrial Council or Committee, which consists of the Governor, the Attorney General, and the Agriculture Commissioner of the state. They then proceeded to make loans to farmers, some of them at competitive interest rates and others at discounted rates. They did have some trouble.
To North Dakota, I mean, they kept the money inside the state.
Yes, and this is a principle of almost all public banks, is that they're very regionally focused. In fact, they're designed to avoid competition with each other and also commercial banks. And the Bank of North Dakota is a great example of that because they have one branch and they have 0 ATMs. And that's one way that they keep costs very low, but they also partner with community banks and community development funds, those kinds of things, in order to service your sort of retail customers and business customers. One of the major benefits of that is that North Dakota has the best community banking industry out of all the other states in the United States. There are more banks per capita, and those banks perform much better than community banks in other states. And part of that is because the Bank of North Dakota acts as sort of a mini Fed. Right, it extends credit to these banks. It allows them repo credit, right? So your after-hours banking transfers in order to make sure the balance sheets all match up. They guarantee loans. They buy loans on a secondary market in order to increase the liquidity of local banks. And that independent spirit insulated them from a lot of the turmoil in Wall Street. They survived the credit crunch of 2009. They're currently thriving despite an oil bust in that state. They've returned over $1 billion in profits to the taxpayers in North Dakota over the last 20 years. It's a per capita of about $3,500 per taxpayer that they got in free services that they didn't have to pay taxes for.